what is consciousness doing here? It looks like we're getting supplied exactly what we need to go to the next step, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Okay, up here, 40,000 years ago, in the cultural cycle, was the development of art. Cave paintings, stone carvings, wood carvings, some of the petrified wood carvings they found. Art. There were tools way back here, but art. Art was very, very important because art was the consciousness of future. It was the first expression of future. You know, they didn't sit around the fire carving this effigy of a pregnant woman. You've seen that goddess, right? They didn't sit around carving that because somebody had become pregnant. They were doing it so that there would be pregnancies. They didn't stand there and paint on the walls what they had just done with the bison. They were stating that as a prayer. It was magic. It was shamanism. They were predicting their future. Why did a caveman wear a bear claw on his, or tiger's tooth or whatever? It wasn't so much a totem of what he had accomplished. It was so the next time he met a bear, he'd go, look at that. He was looking into the future to use that power in the future for his survival. And that's what art was all about. It wasn't decorative. It was shamanic for the future. Then, 32,000 years ago, was the fifth night. And what happened 32,000 years ago? Neanderthal went extinct. Do you know why Neanderthal went extinct? Have you watched that National Geographic special or studied any of it? Well, the archaeologists finally figured out why they did go extinct. It was very simple. They never changed. For 100,000 years, they used the same tools, chasing the same bison, living in the same caves in the same valley. They never changed. They didn't travel. They wore the same style of clothing. When they were interacting when they started interacting with Homo erectus, then they started actually copying some of the jewelry and things. But they never took off because they never did art on their own. They couldn't imagine a future. So they didn't have one. They never changed. So they were off the bus. Take a clue. Okay. Back here in the national cycle, this date right here is 40 AD. This line is 40 AD. What was happening 40 AD? Who had just died? Jesus had just a little while before, yeah. But he was here and he had a certain message for everybody. And that message basically was, you're all divine. Every single one of you are the sons and daughters of God. And no one has any business getting in between you and him to do your speaking for you. No king, no priest, no governor, no one has any space between you and God. That was his basic message. And that message, remember these is 397 years, almost 400 years. Here we go. We'll draw it like that. During this period of time, the message of Christ, not him, but his message was spreading out all over the world. That consciousness was being spread over that 400 years. And right here, this time period, the fifth night, was started at 416. Actually, it started 413. In 416, Rome fell. The most powerful nation on earth, the empire of Rome, fell. What the heck happened here? Did the swords go dull? Did the shields just fold up? What happened? Consciousness is what happened. The consciousness that Caesar was not a god, nor any of the emperors. That each person had his own voice. And that Rome was, frankly, very far away. So F you, Rome, you know? We're going alone, is what happened. It was individual consciousness that brought that down. It was the recognition of this truth that destroyed that. It was the application of this information that undermined the authority of Rome. Can't happen again, though, could it? Not in our lifetimes. Okay, the power, or planetary cycle. This line right here, the fifth day, is 1913. What happened right then? E equals mc squared. Einstein's work was being published. And the general public and the scientific public were being apprised of this new understanding. Boy, there is the blueprint of our reality. That's a big opening for consciousness, huh? And then 1924, I mean right down the very center of that 20 years, 1924, Mr. Hubble discovered that we live in an infinite universe. Before that, you see, people thought that the Milky Way was all of creation. Mr. Hubble discovered that there are other galaxies and that they are accelerating away from us faster and faster, and that we live in an infinite universe. In an infinite universe, absolutely everything is possible, isn't it? Nothing impossible in infinity. Now there's an opening for consciousness. Wide open. Okay, what do you do with that when you go to apply it? Well, that line right there is 1932. And we went and applied all that acceleration and understanding in an exercise we call World War II. World War II, where we blew off the atomic bomb. And brought upon ourselves the weight of the responsibility that we could be the last.